this thing is actually coming out. That's when I'm going to get excited, because I am done playing the potential of S.H.MonsterArts, what they could be doing. I'm done with that, alright? I am now going to be hyper-fixated on what they are doing. I'm tired of repaints, because that's what they've been doing. I want more Millennium Era, because that's their potential of what they could be doing. I want to see more Showa, more of their potential that they could be doing. I want to see this G-Cell infected Eva, the potential of what they could be doing. But is it what they are actually doing? Well, I did say that. So just last night, TamashiNations has unveiled a new subline to go with the S.H.MonsterArts line. That's simply being called S.H.MonsterArts Movie Graphic Plus. Yeah, so what is this line? What can you expect from it? Is it worth picking up? Well, let's delve into it. So on the official website, we see that we have 4 figures coming out. 2 of those 4 have been announced, and we can clearly tell what the next 2 are going to be. But we'll talk about those in a bit. So, on the website, which I'll leave a link down in the description below, gives us 3 pamphlets, 3 pieces of information. First one simply saying lineup. The lineup will include Godzilla series representatives of each generation. This series is also recommended for those who are interested in collecting new monster arts. We'll talk about that in a bit. 2, poster art. Each product comes with a paper craft movie poster that can be displayed side by side. You can display it along with your memories of that time. Okay, yeah, sure. I think having posters with Monster Arts figures is a good idea. Whether or not they should have implemented it now in the way that they're doing it. Finally, coloring. The image from the movie has been meticulously reinterpreted and the body color adjusted. You can enjoy different coloring than existing figures. Okay, alright. Okay, so as you can tell from my tone of voice, I'm not that enthusiastic about this. And, you know, there's going to be the argument of, this is not made for you. This is made for the people that missed out. And you know what? There are 2 cans of worms that I'm going to be opening with that. Starting with can number 1. That being, 3 of these 4 releases are figures that actually had releases not too long ago. With Shin Godzilla, we have the orthochromatic version, which released back in 2024. For Godzilla 89, we had the San Diego Comic-Con version, which is actually starting its North American run this year. And of course, finally, that being one of the 4 that being the one of the 2, being the blurring one in the background, being Godzilla 1954, which in case you forgot, had a really awesome repaint release not too long ago. In spite of it being a repaint, it came with everything that people were hoping for. It has an atomic breath effect. It has 2 planes. It has a really cool stand that you can display it on. It is definitely a release worth checking out, in my opinion. Even though I'm not going to check it out, because I'm really happy with my current Godzilla 1954. Now, if I could find just one silver lining in this, it's the fact that the S.H.MonsterArts Godzilla 2014 seems to be returning. Now, before people jump to conclusions, let's just take this step by step. Alright, so, right off the bat, it seems that none of these figures have any improvement in their sculpt, proven by the Shin Godzilla and the Godzilla 89. Like, I was really honing in on the Godzilla 89, trying to figure out what exactly is different about this figure and what would make it worth purchasing. And from the looks of it, it seems to have a slighter, grayer wash. Especially when you compare it to the original release, which, if you look at the body, there's clearly like some kind of blue or green going on with the charcoal gray that they used for the body of that initial figure, and the dorsal plates are way brighter and whiter when compared to this new release. Is that justification for you to pick this up? I'm personally not seeing any reason to pick up that Godzilla 89. I'm more than happy with the initial release. But yeah, like talking about the Godzilla 2014, it seems to be utilizing the exact same sculpt as the figure they made back in 2014. Now, there's 2 things about this. Number 1, that being the S.H.MonsterArts line is coming up on 14 years. Now, if you had someone who was born in the year of 2011, and throughout their life, shortly after that, they may have been introduced to Godzilla, and, throughout the years, they just kind of grew more of an appreciation, and then now, in their teens, their early teens, maybe they want to start collecting S.H.MonsterArts, because it's kind of the line that they've seen literally their entire life. Now, if that's the case, there was no real way of them picking up that initial Godzilla 2014. So, with that in mind, if they were really interested in that initial figure, if they really enjoyed the sculpt of it, and maybe they want to get it as a representation of Dagon, then, I'd say, that's the one good thing about this Godzilla 2014, especially since this is the first time we're seeing this figure, this particular S.H.MonsterArts figure, enter back in the market after 10 years. The last S.H.MonsterArts Godzilla 2014 figure we got was the Spitfire version, which released back in 2015. And since then, there has yet to be another Godzilla 2014 figure from S.H.MonsterArts that utilizes this particular sculpt. Until now. Which brings us to the bad of this Godzilla 2014. Now, I'm judging this based on a very, very blurry image, so things could change. Things could be completely different, but from where I'm seeing, it seems to be using the exact same sculpt as that initial 2014. Now, as I said, this would be good for those who really wanted to get that sculpt particularly, but for the old guard, for those who have been collecting Monster Arts as long as they have, or, as long as I have since day frickin' one, a lot of people have expressed their displeasure with that 2014 figure since then. While yes, the articulation is great, it is not accurate to what the character looks like. And given the fact that in those 10 years since that initial 2014 figure was released, 11 years since that initial 2014 figure released, Monster Arts has slowly been accumulating ways that they could revise that figure. Please enter the Godzilla 2019. The initial 2019, by the way, not everything after that burning version, but anyways, it has an accurate head that is better representative of the Monsterverse Godzilla. It has better detailing and scaling that is actually accurate to how that character appeared in the movie. If you were to take that initial figure, replace the tail tip and the feet of with the 2014, and then re-sculpted the dorsal plates to look like that of 2014, bada bing bada boom, you got Godzilla 2014 right there with 90% of the sculpt. Actually, no, more like 85% of that base sculpt being provided by figures that TamashiNations has already produced, that being the Godzilla 2019 and the initial Godzilla 2014. All they need to do is just re-sculpt the dorsal plates onto the 2019 body. But it doesn't seem to be the case, because if you look at the image that is provided, you can clearly see what seems to, there's certain hallmarks on this figure. There's even that brownish gray splodge on the shoulders that you could see in this image a little bit. And yeah, it's the dorsal plates seem to be, they seem to be the same. They seem to be sized the same. The head seems to be the same size as the initial release. So yeah, this figure has absolutely nothing new to it. Now, man, I'm all over the place. So, it kind of takes me back to, this line is just a glorified repaints line. And, talking about, in my previous video, in my 3-hour video talking about why the S.H.MonsterArts line needs to change, this is, open and shut. And let's talk about what is arguably the most disappointing figure in this lineup thus far, that being the Shin Godzilla 4th Form Awakening version. I don't think I need to explain why this is so disappointing, but I might as well. So, back in my day, when Shin Godzilla came out in 2016, there was what is arguably still one of the best S.H. MonsterArts figures that TamashiNations has produced. That being the Shin Godzilla 4th Form Awakening version. And no, not this one, the initial one that released back in, where are you? Articulation Series website, tell me where art thou? That initially released back in 2017. And it was so good, in fact, that it sold out almost immediately. So what did they do? They gave it a rerun a month later. But then that sold out. So what did they do after that? Another rerun. And, you know, the popularity of this figure cannot be overstated. And it should also be mentioned that this figure wasn't available to everyone when it initially released, because there was some kind of licensing shenanigans that was going on. I remember talking to the Articulation series at this time. It's like, what the hell? Why is this happening? Why is this figure not releasing here in North America? And apparently there was just some kind of licensing issue. So because of that, a lot of people not only weren't able to get the initial Shin Godzilla figure, nor were they able to get the Godzilla 2017, but they were also incapable of getting the Shin Godzilla 4th Form Awakening version. If you really wanted to get that figure, you had to go to a Japanese website that shipped internationally and hope you could get it for a fair price, which is ultimately what I had to do. So, years, almost 10 years since that figure released. Like, we're coming up on, yeah, I think by 2026 it's going to be like 9 years since that figure released. Are you feeling old yet? Because I do. It's like almost 9 years since that figure released. Ever since that initial figure released, people have been asking for another run of that figure. And, you know, speculations and other repaints of Shin Godzilla really made people think that we were going to get this figure again. And we did. Just not exactly the version we wanted, because this version of Godzilla Awakening comes with nothing. It only comes with a poster, new paint. It's painted on with, I assume, the same red translucent plastic that the last Shin Godzilla figure came out with. That's it. That's all you're getting. And if you look at the responses, whether that be on the Articulation series, Facebook or Twitter, the responses are exactly the same, simply being, where are the accessories? Okay, yeah, so here's something from the Articulation series new subline that's figure plus poster aimed at casuals who have difficulty identifying Godzilla suits and the movies they're from. But yeah. Now, this kind of takes me back to when TamashiNations made that King Ghidorah 2019 repaint. And, you know, rather than me just retelling events, how about you hear from the man himself? Here is the Articulation series from the Figure Mania show, talking about what happened with that initial King Ghidorah figure.
It kind of reminds me of back when I did the interview with Daiki, who was working at Tamashi and Bandai at the time, and we were talking about King Ghidorah, and I was trying to convey to him, like, hey, you know, a lot of people really would like a 2.0 version of this figure to get a more accurate version. You know, you had Spiral Studios at the time, and, you know, look how the difference between this. And we know now that they were working with unfinished CGI. Would there be any thoughts to come back and do this as a 2.0? And he's like, yeah, definitely, you know, just let us know. And fast forward a year later, they re-released it as the special color version as a gold. And he's telling me, he's like, oh yeah, we took your feedback to heart and we got it gold because that's what everybody wanted. I was like, no, that's not what it was.
And now we're back. And if anything, I feel like the same thing has applied here. TamashiNations heard that people want a new Shin Godzilla 4th Form Awakening version. They provided this Shin Godzilla 4th Form Awakening version, but I think they've lost why people were asking for that Shin Godzilla 4th Form Awakening version. That simply being the accessories. And if you remember in my last video, I talked about how Shin Godzilla 4th Form Awakening version, I can't wait to move on from this section, was one of the best S.H.MonsterArts figures to be made, and one of the best, if not the best, repaints that they managed to produce. And, you know, if anything, this subline just kind of showcases what is exactly wrong with the S.H.MonsterArts line. We're getting so many repaints, we're not getting any improvements, we're not seeing any sculpt improvements, we're not seeing any changes, so we're not seeing anything to really justify these releases. And, you know, going back to what they said in their website, the series is also recommended for those who are interested in collecting new MonsterArts figures. Hi, hello, yes, MonsterArts collector who likes collecting new MonsterArts figures. There is nothing here that is compelling me to buy these figures. Like, if anything, that Godzilla 2014 seems very interesting. But if you really wanted me to buy that figure, maybe you should have improved it. Maybe you should have made a screen-accurate Godzilla 2014 figure for this line. And, you know what? I'm just gonna... There is this gentleman on Twitter by the name of... Give me a minute. Let me see if I can find him. Oh, no. There is a gentleman on Twitter by the name of Owen Kellen. And for the past couple of years, this man has been putting together references, spending hours on Blender to try and recreate a Godzilla 2014 model. Not just any Godzilla 2014 model, but making one of the most accurate Godzilla 2014 models currently available to download and use for your animations. And not only did he limit himself to Godzilla 2014, he also made the two Mutos as well, because he is like a really big fan of this film. And you know, if you look at this model, it is absolutely insane how much detail this one individual managed to incorporate into this model. And this took him, like, I want to say 3 years. I remember him working on this for quite a while, but in that time span, he managed to put together as much reference from the movies, from behind the scenes. So, materials that are publicly available, that anyone could find. Managed to put all these together to make what is one of the most accurate models of Godzilla 2014 that you could download right now for free. I will leave a link to his Twitter account so you could just appreciate the work that he has put into making this. Meanwhile, TamashiNations, a multi-million-dollar company with hundreds of thousands of employees, being backed by Bandai, which is like one of the figure companies, can't do what one guy managed to do in a couple of years, while they had the same access to the same materials that this guy had for the past 10 years. And they decided to not do anything. And that... Oh man, you know, there's just ways that you could go about with this line, and you know, it's honestly kind of disappointing because it really, and you know, like going back to this line here, just you know, if you're interested in collecting new MonsterArts figures, I think this just smells of desperation from the S.H.MonsterArts line. I think things are just getting a little heated, and you know, I think like one of the major reasons why they're like MonsterArts isn't exactly being popular with the international audience as they are with the Japanese audience is simply because they are catering to just the Japanese audience, and you know, I think that's just fine and dandy, but don't expect the international audience to like rally behind you for if you decide to do things a certain way. A lot of people are hoping, including myself, like if TamashiNations were to make a movie accurate Godzilla 2014. By the way, sorry if I say like film accurate Godzilla 2000, old habits die hard. Then yeah, I would have more of a compulsion to buy that, because yeah, this is like now the S.H.MonsterArts Godzilla 2014, because they actually taken, you know, they finally improved the sculpt. And actually, you know, going back to what I said about Owen Kellen's model, it's like out there, it's free. What is stopping TamashiNations from downloading that model and using that as reference to make a new Godzilla 2014 figure? Like, answer me that. And you know, like, there are some gentlemen that will see all these things that TamashiNations is doing and try to find a way to justify it. You know, it's like, I could see some of the gents of the Figure Mania show going, remember the initial Godzilla 4th Form Awakening version with a limited time release, blah blah blah. They can't release those accessories, etc., etc. Counterpoint, remember how you said the same thing about the initial breath effect and how that couldn't be replicated for figures later on? Presenting to you in the year of our Lord 2025, Godzilla burning version, 30th year anniversary, comes with the same atomic breath effect that we saw in that initial figure. So whenever people could just kind of make those kind of comments saying that, oh, this is to make certain figures more special, etc., if anything, I could see this figure not really making people jump on it. I can see this starting like a grand old treasure hunt for the initial Godzilla Fourth Form Awakening version rather than buying this. And, it's like, if anything, if that is the reasoning, why deliberately hold yourself back from making a superior figure? It's very micromanaged in terms of how S.H.MonsterArts is kind of going about this, because they're kind of thinking about the experience of those who already managed to buy that initial Fourth Form Awakening version. But in doing that, they're holding themselves back by making a equally as good, if not better, figure for everyone. Because again, need to reiterate, there were several Godzilla figures from the S.H.MonsterArts line that didn't manage to get an international release because of some licensing issues between Toho and Legendary, which I'm not even going to get into. If you want to know about it, talk to the Articulation series. That's where I got my information about that. But yeah, it's like, if you're really going to go forward with that kind of mindset, you're just limiting yourself to what kind of figure you can provide to the general public, and I think that's kind of disappointing. Which, let's rewind back to when I said in the beginning how people are going to look at this and go, this figure is not made for you. Time to challenge you on that. Alright. When can we start expecting figures for us exactly? Alright? But you know what? Let's be more generalized about this. When can Showa fans expect more figures for themselves? When can Millennium fans expect more figures for themselves? When can Reiwa era fans expect some reruns of some of their favorite figures that have yet to be adapted? Because, say what you will about Godzilla Singular Point being polarizing with audiences, that doesn't change the fact that there is a demand for some of those monster designs to be made into figures, specifically S.H.MonsterArts. And I'm not even going to humor this question with the Monsterverse. I'm simply going to ask, can Monsterverse fans trust the S.H.MonsterArts line to portray or make certain characters from the Monsterverse in the S.H.MonsterArts line? And if your answer is yes, then where's the Muto? 10th year anniversary was last year. We got nothing. So, it's like, that's where I'm coming from. It's like, you say this all the time. And, like going to this new subline, 3 out of 4 of these figures are figures that we got within the last year. And if people are really enjoying those initial figures that they got, what exactly is compelling them to buy these ones? Especially since the 1954 Godzilla that we got in 2024, the 78th year anniversary poster version, is so good. Even though I'm not going to get it, I see the appeal of it. It is genuinely a really good figure. Why someone who owns that should be compelled to buy this version, which only comes with a poster? So, that's just kind of where I'm coming from with this. And, if anything, I think this is just a look into what S.H.MonsterArts is doing and how they're kind of handling things. The only good thing I could say about this is that it's going to give some people a chance to buy figures that they missed out on. But then again, 3 of these figures are figures that have been released within the past year, which, if anything, I think those figures are still available on the market. Give me a minute. Okay, so the last Shin Godzilla figure, that being the Ultra Chromatic version, is still available according to the Articulation series. And, yeah, the figure before that, being the Night Combat version, has been discontinued. So yeah, I think, like, even the orthochromatic version is one of the older figures. Yeah, this... Oh, wait a minute, no. It came out in November of 2024. Okay, so maybe it's not that old. So, yeah. That is my opinions on this new subline. It's going to do some good he worked some, but like, in spite of what TamashiNations is saying, I'm not compelled at all to buy any of these. The Godzilla 2014, I say, is the one figure that is actually worth picking up, because that figure hasn't been made again since 2014. But yeah, it's like, I just can't find any justification to buy this figure. To buy any of these figures, honestly. And, you know, it's like going over some of the replies from the Articulation series. Yes, these are simply repaints. There's no new engineering, there's no new sculpt. These are the exact same figures that came out initially. But yeah, it's like, you know, like, I've been following the S.H.MonsterArts line ever since it started back in 2011. And, you know, the subline just kind of feels a little tone deaf to me. It's like, the Shin Godzilla, yes, it's the Fourth Form Awakening version, doesn't come with anything that people really wanted that Fourth Form Awakening version for. This Godzilla 89 is like, oh wait, that's another, ooh, this is the 8th 89 Godzilla figure that we've gotten recently. So, yeah, there's that. I'm honestly kind of disappointed in this. There's nothing really here. There's also like this tease for a new, event exclusive Godzilla -1, which the Articulation series put a bunch of question marks at the bottom, so I assume this might be a continuation of this poster line, maybe. But yeah, there's like nothing here. Like, I honestly have no idea what to say about this. Like, what can there be said? These are just figures that we already have. Most of these are figures that have come out recently, and there's a good chance that people actually managed to pick those up. But yeah, it's like, I think this Shin Godzilla Fourth Form Awakening version is just a perfect personification as to what's going on with S.H.MonsterArts. You have this figure that's highly requested, but it implements nothing that people have been requesting. And, you know, like, I can't help remember. But yeah. Yeah, my brain is getting fried. But yeah, if you like these figures, more power to you. Go ahead, buy them. For me, an overtimer apparently, I will not buy any of these figures because there's just nothing here for me. I mean, if they improve that sculpt in the Godzilla 2014, which I highly doubt, I really doubt it, especially since there are other figures that are coming up on their age, entering like the double digits, that also haven't gotten any improvements since then. So yeah, that's it. That's it. New subline of S.H.MonsterArts figures. I think like an awesome way to start this subline might have been to just introduce figures that haven't been made before. And you know, that's kind of the thing. It's like all these figures are just figures that already exist. And you know, if you go through my previous video, then you know that one of the big issues that I have with S.H.MonsterArts is the fact that we don't have enough new figures, nor do we have enough of a selection between figures. Like, again, like proven by the fact that this Godzilla 89 is the 4th Godzilla 89 that S.H.MonsterArts has produced itself. And the Shin Godzilla, I believe, is like the 8th or 9th version of the character that they managed to make. Which, you know, again, just brings, you know, buy what you want. If you don't want it, don't buy it. When can we expect these figures? How many more versions of these characters do we need before we finally get versions or characters that haven't been made at all? There is so much to the Godzilla license that has yet to be utilized. And, you know, the fact that S.H.MonsterArts is kind of going forward with this, like, new subline, just makes me more excited to see what's going to happen in Comic-Con. Because if we get a repeat of what happened last year, oh boy. Oh yeah, and another thing. One of the main arguments for TamashiNations not fixing the head sculpt for their degraded Godzilla, stating that the 2020 the Gens at the Figure Mania show, stating that figure is probably going to be the last time we're going to be seeing that sculpt. Well, with this new subline, somehow Godzilla 2019, 2021, and 2024 have returned. So yeah. So yeah, that's everything that I can say. I'm really jumbled. I probably forgot to state a few things, but yeah, this is I don't know. Like, there's so much to the Godzilla license that needs to be made. This year alone only has seen, and you know, with the releases of these movie graphic plus figures, we're now transitioning into figures that are releasing in 2026, which means we have now a full catalog of everything that released in 2025. And right now, the streak is continuing. We only have. Oh wait, actually wait. So in terms of Godzilla figures, we only got 3 new releases. That being Anguirus, King Ghidorah 72, and Godzilla 2000. My beloved. Finally, 13 years of waiting can finally come to an end. But yeah, if we go into completed, we have like 7 new releases. If you include the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff and the Monster Hunter stuff. Oh yeah, and Gamera, because we have that Legion coming out. Oh yeah, it's coming out in this year. Oh boy, but yeah, it's like yeah. So you know that goalpost for Monsters to complete the entire catalog still moving forward. If anything, these Poster Plus is going to slow them down because it gives them more incentive to make figures for that line. And you know, I think the fact that we don't see any new figures at all being represented in this subline, you know, the Godzilla 2014 is probably going to be using the same sculpt as the initial Godzilla 2014. You know, that Godzilla 89 could have been a Godzilla 84. The Godzilla 1954 could have been Godzilla 55. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that this subline is only made and catered to the figures that have already been produced, rather than, you know, introducing something brand new. You know, that famous line from the website, if you're interested in buying new S.H.MonsterArts figures, you should collect this. No, I will not. There is literally nothing here. It's just a poster, man, a poster. But yeah, it's like, yeah, that's it. There's honestly nothing else I can really say about this. At least that King Ghidorah 72 is kind of cool. But yeah, it's like, I mean, hey, if you're excited for this, if you haven't gotten that initial Godzilla 2014, go nuts. But yeah, I think the fact that a lot of people are screaming for accessories just kind of says blatantly clear what S.H.MonsterArts needs to do. Problem is, they're probably not going to do it. And I understand that MonsterArts is kind of in a bit of a bind, special thanks to a certain someone running a certain country. But yeah, it's like, I guess we'll just wait to see how Haya does at this year's Comic-Con, I guess. Now, the last thing I do want to mention is that I'm currently running my own S.H.MonsterArts survey. This survey is mainly made to kind of prove what is being stated and really get a proper gauge as to where the community that collects MonsterArts really stands with what MonsterArts has been doing. So yeah, do that. Link down in the description below. Check out this video over here to find out what is going on with that survey. And yeah, I'll give you all an extra month to really take that survey, to really get its numbers up. And yeah, guess I'll catch you all soon. Till next time, everybody.